The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. While sharing the concerns, the grief, the sorrows, and the worries of the peoples, I'm saying this in plural as separate nations of the world, especially those of Tibet, of the People's Republic of China, and California, of the United States of America, I crave leave to extend my most cordial, heartfelt, humble, respectful and sincere condolence, especially to those who are mourning the dead and or counting the loss of their dear ones, even are despairing the loss of their property and perhaps livelihood as a whole. I find it very difficult even to imagine what my situation would be if I were in their place, if I had to suffer similar losses, even though I know the pain of losing the dear ones, as both of my parents, my brother and other close relatives died, even in the recent past, but no doubt during the past years. It is, however, not appropriate in my view to raise questions why such dreadful incidents could not be prevented. The incidents, whether in Tibet or in California, were most probably not man-made, but natural. If anybody asked this question, why it could not be prevented, I would invite that particular person to provide the answer how, in his or her view, such devastations caused by natural calamities could be prevented. Particularly if that person himself did not or does not want to believe that global warming is one of the reasons which causes various types of natural calamities, including wildfires, typhoons, and no doubt various other types of catastrophes to take place. Earthquakes are probably not within our control, but we are bound to recognize the facts that many of the other types of calamities are occurring due to our reluctance in combating global warming. Some 50 years ago, or even a period beyond that, a very uneducated person who used to work in our house, or I should say in our household as a chauffeur or a private car driver, noticed and uttered that he discovered and detected the change of climate. He was not, as I already indicated, a very educated person. I fail to comprehend how well educated individuals and groups, including scientists, failed to recognize this fact at least a few decades ago. That rise in temperature caused by global warming would bring calamities into various parts of the world. Global warming is nothing new. Even in our country, we notice this, as we noticed this much earlier. But if the person who himself predicted a few years ago, while holding the highest office in one of the most developed and industrialized countries of the world, and alleged that global warming was not affecting the change of weather and the calamities caused by natural catastrophes, including wildfires, floods, typhoons, and various other types of disasters. How can he today raise the question why it took so long to extinguish the fire, and why is it taking still too long to extinguish the fires? In plural, I'm saying, because this occurred in different parts of California. Can be justified by raising this question. Does he have the answer? Does any one of us has the answer? I begin to query. We share the grief of others, but sharing the grief should not bound us or bar us from coming forward and to act. While in helping the victims, or in ensuring that such dangers are lessened to its minimum possibility. Yes, I share the grief of the people of the state of California, including Los Angeles and its surroundings. But I cannot justify a question raised by somebody who claims to be so popular that why such catastrophe could not be prevented and why such wildfires could not be extinguished much earlier. Natural catastrophes are caused by natural changes of our weather. I'm not referring to earthquakes, but I'm referring to various other types of calamities which have increased in intensity due to our own folly, allowing our own world to warm up due to the production and the setting free of greenhouse gases. But there is some other types of danger which we can prevent. The League of Nations failed to prevent the Second World War, which would never have occurred if the world woke up in time to ensure that that vicious dictator who would become in future would not succeed in receiving so many votes as early as in the year 1933. If the world communities intervened and prevented that vicious regime headed by that evil dictator, so many millions of people would not have died, and millions of others and tens of millions of others would not have suffered. It is observed that various radical fractions are in dreadfully and frightfully raising and alarmingly raising a situation which needs to be prevented at this very early stage. Neo-Nazism is again on rise. Anti-Semitism is not merely a phenomena, not merely an idea. It is a dreadful reality which is caused and enhanced even by neo-Nazis, as it occurred some 51 years ago on the day of Yom Kippur, when Egypt attacked the state of Israel, which was initially backed by National Socialists of that particular day. We need to wake up now, both in combating global warming, but also in combating extremisms of various kinds and types, even the peril which is increased by neo-Nazis. I thank you in anticipation for your kind understanding and the needful awareness, while bidding you a very solemn night. I remain at your service even on this night, crossing from the 12th into the 13th of January of the current Gregorian year 2025. May God the Almighty protect our world, especially His chosen people, including the people known as the Israelites or the Jews, and those who help and support them to exist, while remembering the fact that more than 6 million of them and many others were murdered in the course of the existence of the Third Reich, coming into existence as early as in the year 1933 and continuing its vice until the suicide of that vicious dictator in 1945. Good night, and may God protect our world against evil and vice.